Give us some real world examples of what people are implementing in AI and how you help.
Sure. No, thanks. I appreciate that, Matt. Really, right now, I think a lot of people are thinking of it strictly as a word processor, somebody to help them get their emails done more quickly, more efficiently. We are all beginning to see those are easily identified as AI
Yeah.
generated, as opposed to thinking, what is my company's brand and what are our goals? And how are we using AI to help us achieve those specific goals by stating those in a natural language processing standpoint?
Welcome to our Industrial Advisors podcast. You have Bill Condon and Matt McGregor. We have a great guest today. Michelle Hamilton is joining us, and I'll provide a quick intro on Michelle. So Michelle spent 30 years as a strategic leader in the commercial real estate and AEC sector before pivoting over to the AI investment and workplace adoption. She founded Spark AI Strategy and AI Class Lab to help organizations turn AI tools into execution. So we'll talk a little bit about that. But you've also recently had a recent transition, right? So tell us about your recent transition and then what your day-to-day is now moving forward.
Okay, Bill, thanks. I appreciate that. Yeah, actually, I'm really excited. I don't even start till March 16th, so that tells you how much I'm going to be able to tell you. But I was recruited by Answer Rocket. They are a global AI company. They've been around since 2013. They build out predictive analytics and agentic workflows and have been deeply ingrained in the AI space around the world. And so I'll be leading up their change management and AI implementation division.
That's great. And you are based in St. Louis and you'll stay in St. Louis. Is that correct?
I will. There's going to be a lot of travel, but I'm really looking forward to it. And like me, they really focus heavily on construction, commercial real estate, really that AEC, CRE space. So it's going to be a fantastic fit for us.
That's great. Well, congratulations. Let's kick it off by staying kind of in the commercial real estate space and talking about AI and what you've seen. I mean, it's developing so quickly, right? So what have you seen that has really stood out to you here over the last kind of 12 months as AI has transformed into the CRE space?
I love that question because you're right. It is changing so quickly. I tell everybody today's the worst it's ever going to be. And every 24 hours, the news cycle is astonishing, even to those of us in the space. But really, where I have seen some of the biggest impacts over the course of the last year, especially, is companies were investing a lot of money in their AI tools, trying to decide, are we going to be using Copilot? Are we going to use the ChatGPT Enterprise? Whatever that might look like. But what they were not thinking about was their human first AI adoption. They just brought the tools and assumed that everybody would use them, or had their IT division maybe deliver slides and say, here's how you use AI, good luck. And instead of really thinking about a human first approach, how do you meet teams where they're at and help them to meet their KPIs with specific AI first strategies based on the words and the processes that they're already using and not overloading them with an entire new vocabulary?
So the listeners to this podcast would be institutional investors, institutional landlords, capital market and leasing brokers, tenant brokers. Give us some real world examples of what people are implementing in AI and how you help.
Sure. No, thanks. I appreciate that, Matt. Really, right now, I think a lot of people are thinking of it strictly as a word processor, somebody to help them get their emails done more quickly, more efficiently. We are all beginning to see those are easily identified as AI generated, as opposed to thinking, what is my company's brand and what are our goals? And how are we using AI to help us achieve those specific goals by stating those in a natural language processing standpoint? Also, how are we leaning into generational data in order to predict how to move forward in the future, whether it is a downturn, an upturn, depending on what you're trying to get your data to help talk to you about. The fact that we can now take historic information from companies and turn that into actionable insights truly through conversational use cases is pretty astonishing. Previously, technology really was for those in the technology space. Now, really, anybody with the right training can take their job and their role and determine how are they going to be utilizing AI as their practice partner, not replacing them, not even necessarily just rinsing and repeating or copy pasting everything it says, but really truly using it as a research partner and an opportunity to get back out into the field and close business deals one-on-one as humans, as opposed to spending 8-10 hours a day behind a computer doing the research. In those particular roles that you mentioned, I'm even thinking about the ability to automate research, automate the ability to come back and bring you reporting on a daily basis so that you understand how your organization or how, let's say, your targets are needing to work and help you to predict what to do next and how to move that ball forward.
How much red tape on like large companies? So, for example, we're with Colliers, right? And we're probably one of the less organizations with a lot of red tape, but how do you work around them saying, gosh, you can't put this on your server, or you can't put this software, or this has to be approved? How do you work around that?
So for larger organizations, oftentimes they do have an innovation team on the inside. The innovation team generally includes key stakeholders as well as those from the IT department coming together to determine how can we move the ball forward with AI in a safe way that is going to protect our data. One of the things, though, that I am seeing again and again in that particular use case is because they are taking such a measured approach, which is incredibly important to do, and not teaching people how to use the products more than just some rudimentary, like I said, slides, here's how you do it. Where they're putting themselves at the greatest risk is through what I would call shadow AI, a fairly common language, but it means if you are not showing somebody how to use the products that you have either custom built for them or that you have invested in as a firm, they are going to simply go around your governance and pick up their phone, open up their own private account with a ChatGPT, Gemini, Claude, and simply put the information in there to get the results that they're looking for.
For sure.
So it is really the refined training so that people understand we have invested money, like I said, in either custom models or in an enterprise version of a model at this type of scale. But we want to invest in you to teach you how to do your job with this tool. And there is a structured approach to that. And it is one that needs to be thought about very carefully. I will tell you, some of the largest organizations that I've worked with have secretly brought me in the back door and have said, don't tell the innovation team you're here. We're going to call you a marketing expense.
That's right.
Now, show us how to use it. Now, show us how to use it. And so, now we're
Bill already knows what I'm thinking.
Yeah.
But I will tell you, the great thing is now we are beginning to get past that, because I do think leaders are beginning to see we've put hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars into these tools, and we're not seeing the ROI. Why is that? And where did we miss?
Let me go back just to that kind of real world example. If you had mentioned, and I'm super sensitive to it, that your emails, you can tell. You can absolutely tell when they are produced by AI. I would say especially chat, right? I would say most people are using that. So you can even tell the format, the language. So let's say an average broker like myself or Bill in a 10-hour day is 4 to 4.5 hours of that is responding to unexpected, for the most part, emails. So your day is part research, right, to answer those emails. How does AI come in and put you back out to your unique ability, right, and get you out of that reactionary without looking AI and with really being productive? How does that happen?
I will tell you a great methodology for that. Now, Copilot is the most common corporate tool that people are using. It is beginning to catch up. I will say predominantly, I haven't heard a lot of people super excited about it, but it is beginning to catch up with some of the other foundational models. But here's how you're going to actually handle that. Within your large language model, within your chatbot itself, you're going to actually move away from answering those emails directly in the email program itself. You are going to begin building out project folders or consistent trained conversations, if you will, where you have not only uploaded your company's brand standards and accepted language and the language that really surrounds what has traditionally moved the ball forward, but also what are you as the communicator? How have you communicated before ever, AI ever came out? What really made you great at what you already did? And you basically build out a training document. That training document forever lives in that conversation, and the bot has been put on notice. First of all, you follow my company's brand and you follow my personal brand and brand standards. Second of all, there are no M dashes, there are no emojis, there's no hyperbole or overblown information here. This is a conversation that I need to respond to in a way that is both clear and reflective of who I am and who I work for.
So you mentioned jobs earlier, and whenever you go to a conference and we talk AI, one of the biggest fears that people have is AI ultimately going to take a bunch of jobs away? Obviously, jobs matter in the commercial real estate world.
They do.
What's your take just overall when it comes to the AI sector and jobs and job growth long term?
You're out, Bill. She already said it's going to eliminate you. You're gone.
Yeah. I'm not worried about me or you. Yeah. We have kids. Yeah.
Now,
That's
Bill,
what you missed in the last 2 minutes with the technical issues.
While you were fixing your earphones.
Yeah.
I will tell you, I get that question day in and day out, and for good reason. I mean, we oftentimes lean into fear. AI is coming so fast and moving so fast, and we are seeing some mass layoffs within organizations. Here's where those organizations almost across the board have made a mistake. They assumed that they could just move an AI product in-house and it would automatically replace the humans. What they did not think about and what they did not reflect on is, why did they build their workforce to begin with? And why were those individual contributors or groups outstanding at what they already did? And by taking that human first approach, organizations that perhaps were thinking they were going to be laying off are less likely to, because they are going to be looking as to those humans as orchestrators and as the one that is working alongside the AI bot. Can I say it is not going to take jobs? Absolutely not, because we are already seeing that it is. I guess the way I look at it is, my job when I come into a company and I'm trying to reassure the employees, I'm not here so your company can take your job. I am here so that you can become the very best AI user for your job, to give you job security so that you will have a place within your organization as a leader and as a voice to ensure that all of your tribal knowledge that you've carried with you throughout your career absolutely continues to move forward and becomes part of the collective solution on how that company is going to move forward.
What jobs in the CRE space do you think will be eliminated, or call it better than 50 or 60% eliminated?
So I've got a couple of clients that are law firms. I'm seeing law firms definitely experiencing some layoffs because of the cost to delivery model. And they are able to use AI to do a lot of the research now and build cases that actually are going to ultimately save their clients money. I'm also seeing more of the consultant roles, the roles where people are being paid to help you build out your strategy, help you be able to capture your next steps and how you are going to ultimately use, once again, your data or even your foundational knowledge from an owner that is getting ready to retire, perhaps. Bringing those consultants in, while I've got a lot of great friends in the consulting space, I do have some fear for their jobs and their positions because a smart AI user within an organization can actually tap into whatever model they're using in order to achieve a lot of what was previously being paid.
I was just going to ask, as you say, like you think about from a training standpoint, how to put yourself in the best position. How do you think, we have, Matt's got one in college right now. I have one going into college next year and younger kids. And I'm curious how you think universities are going to implement the AI world into actual, degrees and things like that go forward.
Mhm. I love that question, but mostly because I came into the AI space when my son was a freshman in college, and he just sent me this arbitrary text that said, "Hey, Mom, I got this new thing called ChatGPT, but and he got a very, very early version of it. He had a friend in Silicon Valley that sent him just a beta version about 6 months before anybody else had heard of it. And he said, I used it to write a paper and I got an A. And I was really mad. Like, wait, you're a freshman.
Right.
Where do I even start? This is not
Yes.
how we raised you. But I will tell you, super smart kid. And he said, no, I told you what the outcome was. I actually did not tell you how I used it as a contextual thinking partner. And we iterated back and forth on a specific topic and concept. I used it as both a research partner and a refinement partner. It was still my work at the end of the day. I'm happen to be coaching a school district, a local school district here, and we are talking a lot about AI for education. And I'm actually much more hopeful about the use of AI at the college level or even at the K through 12 level, because previously we've all had very similar educational backgrounds. Now we have this new tool. And if students are taught correctly to use it, they are actually going to be able to think bigger and broader than we've ever allowed human beings to think
For
before. No longer can you say, oh, you can't do that. You don't know anything about that. If you can dream it, you can actually begin to deeply investigate it. I'm seeing some university campuses as well moving to where, as opposed to a singular professor being the be all end all of knowledge at the front of the classroom, now they are really becoming more of a coach. I coached a large group of students at Washington University on this exact same topic. How are we making sure that I am coaching you in the use cases, practices, and strategies you should be implementing, not only for your research, but your concept development? And then how are you forcing AI to provide full bibliographies and citations of all research and resources? I will say, and we've all been to school. Very rarely did you get to ask your professor, oh yeah, cite your sources, show me your bibliography. Now you get to utilize both the importance of being at a school, and whether that's a trade school or whether that is a traditional college campus, of still having humans work together and understand how to work as a team. But now you've got this incredible tool to lean into in order to be able to extract and pull knowledge that normally would have taken months, even years to document.
Yep.
And tell us, we're going to include your contact information, of course, all of your contact information in the footnotes, but tell the listener, how do you engage you and your company? What does it look like? Is it a physical? Do you come in with a big team? Are you virtual? How long does it take? What's the offering?
I tell you what, and I love this about the way that we've sort of pulled together our package. We decided not to pursue the consultant role where you're just going to pay me, in perpetuity over the course of the months. This is an actual deliverable where I sit with the owners and key stakeholders. I understand what are your goals and what are you trying to achieve. And then we begin to break down phased deliverables. Generally, that is a company-wide AI 101, if you will, leveling everybody up at the same time so that everybody understands the approved tools and how you're going to use them. We can also help them build out their specific governance for their particular industry and use cases. And then from there, we meet with departmental key stakeholders and understand what is your department responsible for delivering and how can we now bring you actual hands-on training. I believe that our training should always be 20% theory, 80% hands-on. I want everybody in the room working alongside each other. This is not me, a talking head. This is all of us, laptops open, phones up. We are talking about how do you talk to AI? How do you get it to do what you are asking for at a much faster rate? Now that I'm going to be working with Answer Rocket, I am going to have a much larger team to work with me. I'll be building a much larger team of me, if you will, so that we can be performing these tasks on a more global scale. Currently, though, it is me, and then I've got 5 individual additional trainers that come with me if I've got a much larger group, because I want everyone to have a very hands-on experience. So no one is sitting confused or frustrated. I want my team walking around the room, answering questions, and helping everybody to move the ball forward as a group and as a team. And then from there, they receive very specific deliverables. I believe in an IP-based prompt library, something that captures the AI work that you have done as a team and begins to capture those prompts into a library that builds out the intellectual property of the entire organization so that everyone can lean into that. And departmentally, no longer is everybody just working siloed. They are seeing how is it used here and how can it move to me here.
Excellent.
Sounds easy. So just bring you guys in, everybody becomes experts, and off we go.
It's that easy.
Yeah. Well, it's a really fascinating and important topic that's not going away. And so appreciate you sharing your expertise with us today. Although it's only been 20, 25 minutes, it's been really insightful. And we will leave your information up in case folks want to engage with you and your team moving forward.
That sounds great. You tell Colliers and they know where to find us.
That's right.
Thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much,
All right,
Michelle.
guys. Thanks so much. Have a great day.
You too.
Great job.